Lesson 83, Recording Navigation. In this lesson, we'll take a look at a slightly more complex macro, one where we have to move the cell pointer from cell to cell, and how, in its default state, the macro recorder fails. But turning on relative reference allows the macro to work. Okay, well, I have to do a mail merge from Excel to Word, and I have data that was sent to me that's in the wrong format. I need names in column A, address in column B, city and state in column C. So I thought, well, I could record a quick macro that would help me solve this problem. So I turn on Record Macro. I'll call it Fix1, shortcut key of Control A. And here's our question. Is this macro only for this workbook? Or is it for any workbook? Well, this is a one-time thing. So I'm going to store it in this workbook. Click OK. So I go through the process of fixing the first record. I move down to cell A2, I cut, and I paste to B1. I move down to cell A3, I cut, and I paste to C1. And then I delete 3 rows. Now, I have 3 cells selected. I really want 1 cell selected, so I press the up arrow key and the down arrow key, and I'll stop recording. Well, here's the problem with the default state of the macro recorder. In its default state, the macro recorder records exactly what cells we went to. So the macro recorder said every time we run this macro, we're going to take cell A2, cut it, and paste it to B1. Take cell A3, cut it, and paste it to C1. Delete rows 2, 3, and 4. And then select cell A2. Here, let me run the macro. You'll see it run at full speed. Sure enough, it's destroying records every time I run the macro. If I wouldn't pay attention, I could hold down Control A and destroy all of these records very, very quickly. That's the great thing about a macro. It lets you do things very quickly, even the wrong things. Okay, so I want to close this file without saving. And I'll reopen the file. Okay, here's how we make the macro recorder actually work in this situation. Frankly, about 95% of the time, you're going to want this setting turned on, so I don't know why Microsoft didn't turn it on by default. We'll start to record our macro. Shortcut key of Control A, click OK. But before we do anything, we're going to hit this icon called Use Relative Reference. When we use relative reference, rather than recording go to cell A2, the macro records go down 1 cell from wherever you started. I'll cut, go up and over, and now the macro is recording go left and down 2 cells. Cut, up 2, over 2, and paste. I'll delete the next 3 rows. And go up and down to make sure that the macro starts on the next name. Well, let's stop recording here, and now I'll test the macro, Control A. It fixes the next record perfectly. Once I see that it's working, I simply hold down Control A, and the macro is run repeatedly, and I've solved the problem of not having to do 150 copy and paste special transposes. Most of the time, when you're recording a macro and you have to move from one cell to another, using relative reference is the key to having the macro actually work. In Lesson 84, we'll take a look at a more complex macro where we don't know how many rows we have in the dataset, a very common problem. Well, I hope you found this helpful, and thanks for watching.
Looking to advance your career by acquiring new skills? Tired of expensive off-site training programs? Wish you could learn from the best instructors in the industry? Look no further than live lessons. Self-paced, personal video instruction by the world's leading technology publishers. Each live lesson comes with a DVD featuring 3 to 4 hours of instructor-led classroom training, sample program code that allows you to work along with your personal instructor, and an example-rich study guide. Live lessons allow you to watch the entire course from start to finish, or navigate directly to any of the individual lessons. You'll literally watch over the shoulder of your instructor as he shows you how to build state-of-the-art applications. Live lessons, the power of the world's leading technology experts at your fingertips. To learn more, visit mylivelessons.com today.